What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot, Rico. It's Rico and Bot live on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Wednesday evening, the first official day of the new league year. And that ushers in a new Buffalo Bills pass rusher. I know what you're thinking. Max Crosby? Trey Hendrickson? Bradley Chubb. Come on down. The newest member of the Buffalo Bills, a player the Bills have had to go up against twice a year for the last couple of years in Miami, is now the latest addition to the Buffalo Bills defensive locker room. Now Brandon Beane's latest Rubik's Cube, and that is the edge rusher position in Buffalo. Rico, talk to me, baby.
Well, it wasn't the guy that we thought we were going to get, because we can't say it wasn't the guy that Brandon Beane had on his list and he was supposed to get him. All we heard all pretty much week long was the Bills are going to be aggressive. So one can surmise that the first aggressive move was getting DJ Moore. Okay, check. We got that off the list. We got the receiver. But he said all the word was he's not done. He's going for more. We were like, okay, so if he's really going to be aggressive coming from him, so we're looking for a big aggressive move. And it's Bradley Chubb. And I feel like we're poo-pooing on Bradley Chubb with our excitement. We should be excited for bringing a pass rusher, not some mediocre pass rusher, because he's a good pass rusher. And he's one that is a difference maker, a former top 10 pick. He's had a slew of his injuries that we'll talk about in just a moment. But for the most part, I have to bring myself into reality and say, this was the responsible move to make. We couldn't go out and get the high valued premier pass rusher. Potentially was in our grasp. So I'm gonna T-ball that back to you. Do you believe that Hendrickson and Max Crosby were actually in the Bills' crosshair? Were we really on there, or is Beane just playing in our faces, saying the Bills were in it, and is he feeding that to these guys? Oh man, I was there. I was gonna do it. I was. That's too bad. What are your thoughts?
Why is it that every time a big move is made, it's made, the Bills don't get the player involved in the big move, and then a short while after the big move is made, you hear reports saying Bills were involved in the final talks before so-and-so went to such and such? How often? I go back to the trade deadline. The receiver's rumored to go to Buffalo, right? Rashid Shaheed. Nope. Well, maybe there was a potential trade with an AFC East team for the Bills to acquire a new receiver. Nope. Linked to Trey Hendrickson. Nope. Max Crosby, is there interest there? Nope. And then it ends up going down this road where you get the guy that you really hadn't even thought of because you were thinking about you were thinking about the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And it just feels like the Bills have been trying to get to that end of the rainbow, but they've been stuck dab in the middle of it. And, you see a signing like this, and you're right. You should be, you should be happy about it. And in many ways, I guess I am, right? It's better than not doing anything. But I feel like we constantly have to sit here and talk ourselves into why we are happy about what transpired. I am just waiting for one of these days where I remember the day, because that was the day that this crazy move happened. I was in a pizza shop in Manhattan when the Bills signed LaShawn McCoy. I was at a bar in Rochester when the Bills signed Von Miller. My mom was on the local news, first in line at the Bills store in Eastview Mall, which has been closed for over a decade now, to get the Terrell Owens jersey. I remember all of these things. Why? Because they were massive moves.
Yep.
Right? And it just feels like the Bills have been dancing around making a massive move because they're constantly shuffling the deck with players like Bradley Chubb. Is Bradley Chubb a fine player? Yes, but when you constantly go into every offseason knowing that the Bills could be a apex predator on the defensive side of the ball away from finally winning one, and then you don't get one. It's moves like these that feel like they fall short. So it's to me, it's a slightly better version of the Joey Bosa move a year ago. And I think when you're constantly linked to a Trey Hendrickson type move or a Max Crosby type move, and it never happens, and then you're watching the Baltimore Ravens, who are paying Lamar Jackson as much money as anybody's paying any other quarterback, they go, we'll talk about this later, by the way. This is the most insane thing of all time, and we got plenty to say about it. It's just crazy. But regardless, you're in on Max Crosby to the point where you're willing to give up 2 first-round picks until whatever the hell happened. But whatever the hell happened, and they immediately pivot to Trey Hendrickson. Immediately, no hesitation. Trey Hendrickson was a Raven before the sun came up this morning. You know where I stand. I want the Bills to kick the can down the road until the time they get to that can, they can barely bend over to pick it up. They restructured Josh Allen's contract today, right? You saw the restructuring. Did you see Josh Allen's cap hit come 2029? Massive. I mean, we're talking nearly 9 digits here. You got X amount of time here to capitalize. This is why I just am waiting for them to do something irresponsible. Because you said earlier, this feels like the responsible thing. And it is. And that's actually what I do like about it. You're getting Bradley Chubb for like $14 million a year here.
Yep.
That is, in terms of money spent per year on the edge rushing position, this is about as valuable of a contract, I guess, you could get for a guy that does have upside. Coming off an 8.5 sack season, double-digit sack season prior to that. But there's also a lot of risk involved with it as well. The injury history is massive with Bradley Chubb. And who has had the worst injury luck, maybe of all teams on the defensive side of the ball over the last decade? It's the Buffalo Bills. So in theory, Rico, Bradley Chubb, the player, not bad at all. Acquiring the player, not bad at all. The problem, once again, and I always kind of use this analogy with Christmas. Christmas is around the corner, and you think Santa is bringing you the PS5. And you wind up, your parents didn't know any better, you wind up getting the PS4. You don't have a game system, and you're going to play it, and you're fine with it.
Yep.
But you've wanted the PS5 all year long, and you didn't get it. It just feels like constantly the Bills are going to the Christmas tree every single Christmas, and they wind up getting the gift that falls a bit short of what was at the top of their wish list.
You pretty much banged it on the head, bro. Because there's a couple things. There's a couple things you said that I want to jump in on, but you're on it, and I'm going to add to it. We're so desensitized to the star now. Why? Because we've had quite a few stars lately in Buffalo, so we're almost as if we're spoiled, right? What used to excite us when T.O. came, woo! T.O. in Buffalo, yeah. T.O. was damn near 40. Yeah, I mean, we got excited for that, right? When LaShawn McCoy reluctantly got traded to the Bills, we were excited because not a whole lot of nice things came to Buffalo. I mean, we got excited for guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know what I'm saying? When we signed them, we're like, oh, at least we got ourselves a quarterback. Bro, so once we got Josh, and then we started getting then we got Stephon Diggs, and then we started becoming a good team, and we started getting guys to come to Buffalo. I mean, the biggest signing that I remember was Mario Williams. That was the biggest thing for me. I knew where I was. So now that we've been winning and we've got a star franchise quarterback, bro, we want the world, right? We got to be realistic at the same time. We can't have it all. We can't have it all. And I know Brandon B was talking about, oh, I'm going to be aggressive, and maybe this was aggression for him. So what is annoying to me and why I'm annoyed the most is because I bought into aggression. I bought into, oh, if he's going to be aggressive, that means he's going all in, because that's what it feels like to me. If someone says I'm going to be aggressive, they're not going to half-ass anything. They're going balls to the wall. They're going all for it. So DJ Moore, okay, I'm with that. But when they said he wasn't done, he was going for more, I'm like, okay, what big aggressive move is he going for? And then we hear, oh, he was in on Trey. He was in on, you know what it felt like? It felt like Facebook Marketplace. How often have you been the person that inquires into something, and then person answers you back and you don't answer, right? Or vice versa. You're selling something. Somebody asks, hey, is that still available? And no answer. Yeah, you inquired, but you were never really serious. So Has he been inquiring but never really serious? Is he playing in our faces? That's what it kind of feels like. So once you get past that feeling, at least that album feeling, that I was like, okay, yo, is he really into those people, or is he trying to appease the fans and saying, at least my GM was trying, at least my president was trying? And then you land Bradley Chubb, like you said, you aim for the stars, or you aim for the all the way up, and then you land in the whatever you want to call it, right? That's what it's felt like. Now here's the deal, and we were talking about that earlier. It's like going to the dealership and looking at the car that you really wanted, take it for a test drive, you love it, you come back and sit down with the guy, and guy tells you can't afford that. This is what you can't afford. You end up getting the one that you can afford, which is safe, reliable, has all the things you want, but just not as nice as the one you wanted. And then you stop at the red light and you look over, there's the car that you were looking at. In the moment, you're like, oh, but once that car drives off and you're back in your own car that you can afford and it's reliable, then you're like, maybe this was the right move to make. So this is what the Bills feeling like. Maybe this was the right move to make. Maybe I liked what I saw. Maybe I was all in until I can't afford that. And you saw what the Ravens just did. They backed out. Like, yo, cold feet. Maybe this is too much. So the Bills right now landing Bradley Chubb may not be a bad thing, because you have a guy that's experienced in the 3-4 defense. You have a guy that he's not new to getting double-digit sacks. He did it when he was in Denver. He did it when he was in Miami, and he was a sack and a half away from doing it again. So maybe we got the right guy for the right place in the right defense. But we were so enamored with getting that high-priced guy, and we didn't get it. Now we're deflated. But it's going to take a moment for us to get right back into it. And that's how Bills fans are normally. We get right back into it and fall in love with a player, and then we're good. Because I can remember everybody was like, Michael Hoyt? Who the heck is Michael Hoyt, the Canadian from Oakville, Ontario? And then he plays 2 games after a suspension. We're all in love with Michael Hoyt, and we can't wait for him to come back. So those are moments where you got to bring down. You got to come down a little bit and accept what we have, and then see how it's going to work. Because if you really think about it, Michael Hoyt, Bradley Chubb is known for a high motor, can get after it. And now we're going to start kind of filling in some pieces as they go along with the draft. Maybe some good things can happen. Maybe this was a blessing that we didn't go after Hendrickson and Max Crosby, and we have the right piece. Now I'm talking myself into this now. I'm talking myself into this. And maybe it's a disaster and he's not what he's supposed to be, because you got 2 ACLs on both knees. One was just a regular, straight cut ACL. The other one was a meniscus, patellar tendon, ACL. It destroyed his knee. He missed a whole year and change. But he's returned to being a respectable player, only 29. So maybe we can still squeeze 2.5, 3 years out of him at $14.5 million, like you said. So maybe it's not a bad thing. Am I selling you into it yet, or no? You're not there yet.
The thing is, I don't need to be sold on this, because it is what it is. If you want a older edge rusher who's going to bring value to the team, but not going to be this immediate game changer, then you got exactly that. Like, Bradley Chubb is a fine player. You can't sit here and sell yourself on the idea that it's better than what going out and getting the guy that they've been trying to acquire for the last decade would be. This is what interests me about consistently trying to do this.
All right.
And Von Miller was the massive move, and it's unfortunate that the one time that the Bills really tried to swing for the fences at this position, it just completely blew up in their face. With Von Miller's injury and the fact that he was just completely past what the peak of his prime was. He had his last real prime year was with the Rams. They win the Super Bowl, and then it was just kind of done from there, right? But you've been trying to acquire this particular position for so long. So it's Von Miller, it's Joey Bosa, and how many draft picks? I couldn't even tell you at this point. I would just think, after Sean McDermott gets fired, after consistently getting to the doorstep and not being able to knock down the door, with the amount of heat that Brandon Beane has taken over the last calendar year, wouldn't you think it would be time to just say, screw it? I'm going to go and just get the guy. I've been dancing around trying to do so for years now. Just go and do it. You mentioned the car analogy, and it's a fair one, because can the Bills necessarily afford it? Probably not, or at least not
responsibly.
Exactly. At least not responsibly. Let me use the analogy that I've been using for a while here now on this whole scenario. You go to that car dealership, but the only difference is you had just left the doctor's office before you went to that car dealership. The doctor says to you, "Bot, I don't know how to break this to you, but you got this new disease that no one's ever heard of before. I mean, you literally must have invented this thing. I don't know what you did, but you invented a disease we've never seen before. You got X amount of time left to live." Am I going to walk in to the Toyota dealership and buy a used Camry to drive around for the rest of my time? Or am I going to walk into that Ferrari dealership and say, "I can't afford this, but you know what? I'll finance the living hell out of it, kick the bill down the road. And by the time the bill comes due, I'm gone." And this is kind of how I see it, because eventually the bill's going to come due on Josh Allen. Once again, go look at the cap hit in 2029. We are approaching $100 million. Eventually, at some point, these restructures are just not going to be able to be continued to be done. And even if they are, at some point, the bill is going to come due. In the current period of time in which it's not due, in the current period in time in which you are in the midst of Josh Allen's prime, I would just think there would be more of, once again, here comes this word, an aggressive approach. This does not scream aggressive to me. If anything, it's just basically more of the same. Joey Bosa last year comes into Buffalo, and it's about a $12.5 million deal. He's 30 years old. Bradley Chubb comes into Buffalo this year. He'll be 30 by the time the season starts, $14.5 million. So once again, I'm not disparaging the player in Bradley Chubb, because I think he's a solid player. The thing of it is that the Bills have been trying to find their game-changing defensive player, and they've been tiptoeing around it and just haven't done it. And you look across the league now, and now that Lamar Jackson has Trey Hendrickson, you've seen it'll be Lamar Jackson with Trey Hendrickson. Joe Burrow for a period, of course, had Trey Hendrickson. Patrick Mahomes has had Chris Jones. Dak Prescott for a long time, Micah Parsons. Now Jordan Love has Micah Parsons. You go to the Rams for the longest time, Matt Stafford. When they go and win the Super Bowl, you have Aaron Donald. It feels like a lot of these teams have their equivalent of their top tier offensive player on the defensive side. The Bills have never had it. They've had a couple of splashes, right? Where you've had an all-pro year from Trey White. You've had some splashes from a bunch of guys, right? I mean, obviously you had one of the best safety tandems in the league for a while. But when we're talking about the D-line, the Bills have not had a game-altering player at that position. Really not even close, Rico, throughout Josh Allen's entire time in Buffalo.
Well, I'm going to push back on you on that, because I don't necessarily believe that you need that star, that one guy that can get you, that you want him to get you over the hump, but it's not that one single guy that's going to do it. And I bring this up because you just saw the Seattle Seahawks win the whole thing. Could you name me that one guy on the defense that really gets you over? That was a unit. Like, there was one guy making a play over here and one guy making a play over there. There was never that one guy that really got you over the hump. There's not many Aaron Donalds out there. There's not many, right? If you look at all the Super Bowl champs that have been, it's just been collectively guys just doing their job here and there. Even if you go to the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Chris Jones, some might say he's kind of been falling off. I don't believe so. But like, other than Chris Jones, like, was there anybody that really got, man, that was a collective way of winning it, and Pat Mahomes being Pat Mahomes. So maybe Chubb is just the right piece that we need collectively with everybody else. Now, Bean ain't done. He hasn't sold Bills fans just yet. I want to see how he's going to fill the rest of the roster. However, I do feel what you're saying. Like, it's like almost like NBA Jam, right? You got to have your core 3-4 players that make that squad that can really pull you forward. So that Josh Allen being on the offensive side, maybe DJ Moore or James Cook, you could say are the two big pieces. Kincaid, whoever you want to use. On the Bills defensive side, this is where there's not a star. Now it's just going to have to be a unit that can put things together. And maybe Chubb might be that extra piece that kind of gets us there. Did we get the big sexy piece? No, we did not. But we also didn't mortgage the future, like some folks might say, though the Ravens would have. And that's why they backed down, was like, let me think about this one, because
Rico, they backed out, but they immediately went and got Trey Henderson. Immediately.
Because they didn't want to mortgage the future. So they got something that was just as good, right? So,
well, I mean, they still gave him nearly $30 million a year. I mean, they're still dropping a bag off. If anything, you could say it was the smarter move. This is why they probably ended up doing it. They saved the 2 first-round draft picks. That's the thing here. Once again, it's like it's not a knock on Bradley Chubb because it's for what he is. He's a fine player. It's for what the Bills need. This revolutionary guy, I feel like it's just he would probably tell you at this point in his career, it's just he's not that. What is he going into? Year 8, year 9? So
you're just same as Josh, year 9.
Yeah, I forgot. He was drafted before Josh Allen in the 2018 draft, right? So, once again, how is this not just in one way or another? How is this just not Joey Bosa of last year? I mean, it's essentially the same. This is why I'm wondering, like, why didn't you just bring Joey Bosa back?
Easy. I'm not going to let you disrespect Bradley Chubb and throw him in the same bag as Joey Bosa. I don't think this is a Joey Bosa 2.0. Joey Bosa was a pure experiment. Let's see how this works out. At least you have someone that has really done something in this game. The last couple years, listen, he had double-digit sacks just a couple years ago, right? In 23. Then he got hurt, came back, 8.5 sacks last year. So I'm not going to let you Joey Bosa, Bradley Chubb. He's much better than that. I think he's going to be a fine player in the system. He's just not a sexy name like all the others. And I'll tell you right now, had he not blew his damn knee out, he'd probably be his rookie season had 14 sacks.
The thing is, though, Rico, he did blow his knee out. And I got a stat for you here. And this is where, this is the other thing, too, you got to keep in mind here. Because I agree with you. Like, the numbers on paper, if he can come into Buffalo 8.5 to 11 sacks, like, you're already going to be leading in sacks on Buffalo. Like, I'm not knocking this. I want it to work out, of course. Like, obviously, every time the Bills go to the well here, I want it to be the move that works. There was an interesting stat in regard to what you're talking about, though, over on ESPN. And before and after the ACL tear, so Chubb's pass rush win rate was at 7.6% last year. It was triple that prior to his ACL tear back in 2023. Triple that at 21.4%.
Yep.
So I know, and this is the one other thing we constantly do. We have to. And you know what I'm going to say. It's 4 words. If he stays healthy. If he stays healthy. And I know you can say that about Crosby. I know you can say that about Hendrickson, but we're talking about what I find to be the guy that they've been after here. I'm hoping Bradley Chubb ends up being that. You get frustrated, Rico, when you watch the Packers do it, when you watch the Ravens do it, when you watch the Rams year in and year out, get rid of draft picks and go and get proven guys to go out there and remain one of the best teams in the league and get to conference championships and win one. I'm at the point now where I guess I think all I want right now is just, even if it doesn't work out, I feel like I'm at the point now where I want to look back and say, man, like, how can you knock them? Because they were aggressive and they were all in. That's the thing. I don't get the vibe from moves like this, that is exactly what they're doing.
And here's the thing. I used to fall for that. I don't want to say fall for it. I used to fall for it back in the day where if we didn't get this, I was disappointed. I've learned to, like, you know what? Prime example last year. Like, I was like, Michael Hoyt, I guess. Okay. Right? Certain players where I was like, I mean, signing that player, I guess it works out. And then you find out that was the best fit for this team. Michael Hoyt is I'm using that as an example. That's a great fit for this team. So Bradley Chubb might be a fantastic fit for the team. And we're in our feelings now because what we could have had. But like, this might be a great fit. And now we build off of that. And I think that's what I'm trying to get, I guess myself, I'll speak for myself, get myself on board to understand sometimes the move that you didn't make might be the best move that you did. Like, Hendrickson might go out there and be paid 29, almost 30 mil, and he does diddly squat for the Ravens. And we're like, golly, we dodged a big one. And then Bradley Chubb over here in this new Jim Leonard defense that's based on creating chaos and havoc for defensive fronts. He comes in and gives you 11, 12 sacks. You're like, dude, what a value pick. So that's why I'm not poo-pooing on the situation as much. And I'm not saying you are, but I know that you're not. It doesn't move the needle for you. It doesn't. It's just another guy. It's just a jag to you. Just another guy.
To me, it's just, it is a slightly better version of the Joey Bosa move. So does it move the needle a bit? Yes, but I'm not noticing this. I don't see this massive gap between how I felt about that move and how I feel about this move. You get a year younger, and I think you're right. I think you do have some more tread on the tire there. But the other thing you have to factor in is that the health of Bradley Chubb has been a massive concern for a very long time here. I mean, we're looking at a guy who has a significant injury history here, where he's missed. There's 3 seasons where he's only played 8 games or fewer. 3 seasons. And this concerns me because oftentimes, and it's not like it's just the Bills. I know the 49ers and plenty of teams run into this issue, but when you're going after guys that are that have the injury history that they have, that are towards the later stages of their career, it feels like the Bills are constantly in this cycle where they're just hoping to God these guys stay healthy. I mean, we said the same thing when Joey Bosa got signed. It was the same exact thing. Now, where I will say, where is sort of kind of how I thought about the Bosa thing too.
Yep.
All that's going to matter, though, at the end of the day, is if one of these guys, and if that's Bradley Chubb, I hope it is, you just need somebody who's going to make that one extra play in the postseason that they have not had.
Absolutely.
So could that be, that's what I'm hoping for. Like, once again, and I know you've said it, like, there's no way that I'm not in on this, because I understand that should the Bills not go and make the massive move I'd like them to make, right, then this is about as good as you're going to get on the contrary, right? But even if he's not somebody who's dominant in the regular season, the Bills have proved year in and year out they're going to do enough to get to the postseason. The Bills have not had the guy that alters a game in the postseason. So if that can be Bradley Chubb, I would absolutely love it. And I feel like Bean has constantly been trying to go and get guys that have proven that they're capable of doing that. It just hasn't panned out. And I really hope that this ends up being the guy that pans out and you look back and this looks like a steal when it's all said and done.
Yeah. And this is the beauty of free agency. And Louis Riddick said it best, and I'm going to bring it back again. You won't win with the guys that you trade for or you sign until you start winning with the guys that you trade for or you signed. So it's all great and dandy. Like the Raiders signed all these players, they might be ass, you know what I mean, and win 3 games with all those guys, or they really propel and do well. The contending Super Bowl Patriots, right? They might go next year and not do well at all. I mean, who knows how this all shakes out at the end of the day? But you're right. When it comes to playoffs, because that's when it matters, who's going to be able to make the difference? And one thing that was encouraging with Bradley Chubb, knowing that he's got the injury history, which is in his past, he played all 17 games last year. Played all 17 games, 8.5 sacks. And his obviously things kind of took a turn for the worse when Jalen Phillips got traded to the Eagles. Double teams started going Chubb's way, and then it went down from there. So those things matter. So now you put him in a system that you got better players on the squad. So this may open him up, and he stands up in this 3-4. Bro, he's going to be standing up. He's going to be creating havoc. So I'm getting on board. It wasn't a sexy pick. It's not a sexy pick. It really isn't. The initial reaction when this happened was, oh, okay. But I also had my hopes somewhere else.
But that's the thing, though. I know you are like me in the fact that you are waiting around for the sexy move. When is the
Of course.
Let me ask you this. Is a sexy move ever going to happen between now and when Josh Allen retires?
Ooh, I mean, it all depends on if Bean is still around. If Bean is still around. I mean, let me ask you this. When's the last sexiest move Bean has made? In your opinion, what was the last sexiest move he's made?
Diggs.
Anything after that? And that goes to the chat. In the chat, what's the last sexiest move where you're like, Bean did it again, crushed it? Is it Diggs? 2020?
No, this is fair. This is fair. I always overlook this because that it didn't work out. But no, Von would. It's fair to say that yes, that it felt like it at the time. It's just unfortunate. It is so unfortunate how that panned out. But Go Away's right. No, it was Von.
Von was a sexy move. I think is a semi-sexy move is DJ Moore. Like he had to make a move, and DJ Moore was legitimate because I mean there was really nothing else that was really out there moving the needle at receiver for me that was actually available, right? So Evans was nice, but I think he's where he's supposed to be with the 49ers. Go do your thing with Kyle Shanahan. Romeo Dobbs, I'm saying 700-yard receiver, really good route runner, can absolutely get the yak, can do all those things, great separation. He's with the Patriots. Who knows how that's going to happen? DJ Moore was a sexy move to me. So I think we need to get past this sexy move and really sustain the sexy. Because if you really think about it, we're a sexy team. Think about it. You got Josh Allen as the sexiest freaking human being on the planet right now, and he's your quarterback. You got a sexy running back. You got a sexy O-line. I mean, shoot, how much sexiness you want on a team, bro? You got at least some sexy for everybody else. And DJ Moore just adds to this offense. So to me, we can't. I mean, I remember a content creator was like, yo, why do Bills fans always cry like they need more, they need more, they need more? Do they not realize who they have on their squad right now? Yo, win the whole thing. Why do you keep constantly wanting more? You can't have the best receiver, can't have the best running back, you can't have the best left tackle, you can't have the best defensive end, you can't have the best safety, you can't have the best corner. You just got to get it done.
They don't have the best anything or even in the argument on defense. Nothing. But
your sexiness is on offense. That's
is
where your
it though?
sexiness is.
I mean, it is. But then again, we sit here every year. Where's the wide receiver? Where's the wide receiver? Where's the wide receiver? The sexiness is at quarterback. Remove the quarterback, and how sexy do the Buffalo Bills look?
I mean, shoot, take any quarterback off a team. How sexy is the team? You can't do that.
Sure, but are we inflating are we inflating the sex appeal of the Buffalo Bills simply based on one player?
No, because that's the one player is what makes the team sexy. Hey, the Kansas City Chiefs ain't sexy. They're not in a sexy location, and they're not a sexy team without Pat Mahomes. Let's keep it a buck. They're not a sexy team without Andy Reid. You take those two suckers off the team, forget about it. You saw what the Chiefs looked like when Pat Mahomes got hurt. Straight booty cheeks, man.
Of course.
You feel me? So the sexiness that we want to go and get, sometimes, bro, the sexy is right there. Just you know what I'm saying? Give your quarterback some of the things that he needs to propel. Last year, you have to admit, probably one of the bottom 10 receiving crews in the league. With DJ Moore, you're top 15. You're top 15 and maybe a little bit higher than that. DJ Moore
I'd have to look.
Lifts the ceiling. Some folks might disagree, but he lifts the ceiling high enough that now that's a receiving room that you can respect. If Palmer does what he's supposed to do, DJ Moore is going to do what he does. And then now you have a healthy, hopeful Kincaid. Bro, this is a nasty team on the offense. It's a nasty team. I mean, you got James Cook. Bro, I think we overlook what we actually have on our roster, wanting everything else. But yo, you got it right here. All we need to do is just tweak here and there. We added the receiver, big need. We added a pass rusher, big need. Now we can kind of just tweak here and there. We couldn't get Trey, we couldn't get Max. So be it. Boo-hoo. Quit crying, man. You still got Josh Allen. You know how many guys want Josh Allen on their squad? They would give up an arm and they'd get, bro, who you want? You want Max? You want Trey? Y'all give them all up. Give me your quarterback. We'll be like, nah, you keep what you got, man. We'll work around it. It's going to be like that. It's going to be like that.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you that the Bills certainly do have sex appeal on offense. I'm not going to disagree with that. I mean, of course,
in the league, baby.
Here's my counter to that, though. They don't have anything on defense. That's the thing. And it's a year in and year out issue. Every single year. Like, I understand what you're saying. You can't have the best of everything. I get that. I absolutely get that. But the Bills haven't even been close on the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
In terms of having an argument for any of that. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying you have to have the steel curtain over there, but I am just saying that I would like to have at least one guy on the D where you're like, yeah, that is the guy that elevates the D from here to here. That's all, right? So that's where I'm getting at. I'm not gonna discount the fact that the Bills might have the best running back, the best quarterback. They did get DJ Moore, and I love that offensive line. I mean, don't get me wrong. This offense is the reason why we want to go and upgrade the defense in the first place, because you want it to match what the offense has been giving you. But my whole thing, to your point, is I understand you can't have the best of everything, but every single year it just feels like the Bills are grasping at straws on defense, and it just feels like, yet again, it could be going down that road in 2026.
And I don't blame you for that. And who I'll blame a little bit is our GM, because our GM has been, I don't want to say selling us a lie, because I don't want to quite put it that way, but But when he talks about, okay, I hear you guys, I'm going to do this. And when he did the whole receiver thing and he stood on his business, I liked it at the time. But when it materialized, you're like, come on, fam, we need a little something, something. So he did what he's supposed to do, right? He got us the receiver. He got us what he need. Now we're watching what his next move will be. That's the biggest one. I'm holding out hope for this. I know some people might say, yo, you're out to lunch. Brandon Ayuk is still out there. If he somehow, the dust can absolutely settle, and now Brandon Ayuk is looking to, after big time injury, trying to come back. Who else better to come back with than Buffalo and DJ Moore and Brandon Ayuk? Bro, if we can,
that's your guy though. After what he pulled in San Fran, that's the move.
He felt disrespected on San Fran. He felt disrespected for whatever reason. Felt disrespected, bro. Whenever one guy wants to jump back in the saddle and really do good things, he goes to find himself a quarterback that will get him the football. And Brandon Ayuk is still out there. If Brandon Beane brings Brandon Ayuk to this, bro, watch all Bills fans go, oh, snap. We in it, baby. We back. Your ass is going to be that same way. You're like, oh, sexy move.
There is no way Brandon Ayuk being signed to Buffalo will have me doing what you just did right there. I watched this guy drive 125 miles per hour past the facility in San Francisco. This was a guy that didn't show up nearly all year long. They didn't even know where he was all year long. Kyle Shanahan, when he was asked about it, he would barely answer because he had no idea where the guy was. I don't know how that would be a move that I don't know. What has you sold on that? The idea that off the end,
I know the type of receiver he is. That's just a me thing. That's a selfish, like I see what's out there and nobody's really mentioning the Brandon Ayuk at all. It's been kind of silent. All of a sudden I can see him pop up. And that's Brandon, and that'd be Brandon Beane's. All right, now the receiver room is nice. Let's roll. But I digress. It may not even happen. Now, I do want to kind of pivot here and talk about the Ravens and this Raiders thing. But the one thing that I do want to bring up, we talk about aggressiveness. It turns out the Ravens, not only when they did sign Mr. Trey Hendrickson, they had the nerve to try to get both him and Max in the same building. Your thoughts on hearing the rumors that they were trying to get them both in? Hendrickson apparently claims that, hey, the understanding was they were going to try to work both of us to get on the same squad. I was supposed to be working alongside Max and Max Crosby. What in the heck? What were these Ravens up to? Was this all BS? Is this any truth to this, you think? Or were they trying to pull a fast one and try to get it both?
Do they got an offshore bank account that they're using that the other 31 teams don't have access to? Make that. I'll tell you this right now. If the Ravens would have found a way to land both Hendrickson and Crosby, the crash out would have been biblical on here. Okay. If the Bills could not land one for them to land two, it would have been all time stuff. I mean, I am not buying that at all. This to me seems like a spin cycle on, well, we were trying to land both, but then Crosby failed the physical, so we wound up with just one of the guys, right? This whole thing is wild, unprecedented stuff that we are watching go down here. Max Crosby gets this surgery on his knee 2 months ago in January. Everyone knew he ended the season on the bench. Everyone knew he had surgery, and yet everybody was in on Max Crosby. Everybody wanted him. So much so that the Ravens go and put 2 draft picks on the table, 2 first-round draft picks, an unprecedented amount of capital. They've never traded a first-round draft pick for a player before. I don't know how you come to the table that aggressively and then all of a sudden back out the way that they did. We've never seen a team back out on a trade of this
crazy
magnitude. Now, I feel like all of this could be cleared up if the findings of the physical became public. And I don't know if that's possible due to HIPAA or whatever. It's just, I don't quite understand how you could have the knowledge ahead of time that the knee was, of course, an issue. I mean, how bad is that knee now? And then now to get Hendrickson the next morning is just something else. And the reports are that they were on the phone with Hendrickson while Max Crosby was in Baltimore.
Not dirty.
I just can't believe it. And there's no way they could have gotten both of these guys. How in the hell could you have gotten the 2 top edge rushers available this cycle in one swoop? It makes absolutely no sense at all to me. And I'm sort of at a loss for words watching this whole thing unfold. Then you see the GM of the Baltimore Ravens, Eric DeCosta, right? He finally commented on this whole thing, and he said he was gutted over it. That was the quote. He said he's gutted after the trade for Max Crosby did not go through. And I'm wondering if there was a call down from the top, whether that would be ownership or whatever, because I am not entirely sure how you can get this far along, days after. It wasn't even like it was one day after. We're talking days after. Trey Hendrickson's still available. They might not have thought he was going to be available. Then all of a sudden you back out of the trade and you don't even wait 12 hours to sign the next best guy available. It's pretty wild.
It is business. And you know what? DeCosta had to face the music today. And here he is commenting on this whole Crosby and Hendrickson fiasco.
What do you kind of say to that speculation?
I mean, I understand it. I understand it. We live in that age of skepticism and people question, especially people that don't really know me or know the Ravens culture and the Ravens organization. So I understand it. As I said at the beginning, we've got a responsibility. I've got a responsibility to the Ravens, to this community, to our fans, and to Steve Bisciotti to do what we think is best for the club. And that's what we always try to do. Every decision we make is based on this idea. Is this the best thing for the Ravens? It's very, very challenging. Again, I understand how people might maybe from afar would feel that way, but nobody's more upset about this than me. Gutted by it, actually. And so a big regret for me. But we will move on as a football team. And I think there's many, many opportunities for us to grow as a team, to become a better team, to build a roster, and to be the team that we want to be.
He says he's gutted.
What does that mean? Because he did not specifically there say, the physical, we just couldn't. And I don't know if he's trying to not throw Max Crosby under the bus or whatever. But when this story is as big as it is, this is one of the biggest stories in NFL offseason history. Yep. To not have a concrete reason really as to why, and then say you have to do what's best for the organization. Well, you could argue what's best for the organization would be not giving up 2 first-round draft picks to go and get the next best guy available for 0 draft picks and pay him similar to less money. I just don't understand when you make this move, Rico, how there wasn't a caveat that said, barring a physical, we have made a trade. Or don't even make the trade public until the physical is conducted. You made this massive headline, to then allow the Raiders to go out and spend gobs of money all over the place and then back out on it. And here's the other thing. If they had not assigned Hendrickson, I almost think you could overlook this. If they had not signed Hendrickson, you could look and say, maybe the injury was worse than it was. And the fact that Hendrickson was a Raven before the sun came up the following morning, that's what makes this whole thing look twice as crazy.
It is pretty crazy, and right now the dust is settling a little bit more. And this is the thing, man. These acts, these little things that these GMs do, it doesn't just get forgotten. Now doing business with the Ravens, bro, people are gonna cross your arms like, what you gonna do? Nah, we're good, bro. You're just gonna renege on that anyway. Like that, and I'm not. This is not my saying here. You chose your draft picks over your reputation at the end of the day, and right now your reputation is taking a big hit on what you did. All reporters, all GMs are talking about this, and they're saying, bro, this is a phony, this is a fake. All 32 teams, if you were interested in this individual, you had your doctors take a look at the same MRI. Can you deal with this? Is this as bad as you think it is? And more information came out. They knew how bad it was going to be. They were like, bro, we can have this guy that has no issues and it won't be long-term. We can have him for the long term. Go ahead and get this thing happen. Here's my issue. But you're trying to win tonight. You're trying to win right now. So if you have Max Crosby at his full 100% for the next 2.5 years, bro, you have 2.5 years to get this thing done. You think he's going to pay for 6 years for you guys? Bro, this isn't the time of right now. Make that thing happen right now. I think this is why most fans like ourselves are talking, where we're kind of pissed off a little bit with Brandon Beane for not really going for it, because you said it earlier. They restructured Josh Allen, and Buddy's owed $89 million in 2029 and $89 million in 2030, or whatever the case is. You're going to have to do something then. But right now you have a window of doing something now. So in the next 2 years, 3 years, bro, do what must be done to get yourself a championship, because we get a championship. Oh, nobody's going to give a rat's who we paid what and for how long. We got our Super Bowl in Buffalo, something that was supposed to be had back in the 90s and that skipped out on us. So now we're 3 times as hungry for it now. And Josh Allen's 29. He's the biggest hope we got to getting the damn Super Bowl. You do what you got to do, bro. So Brandon could be feeling heat. Maybe he's not. Maybe he ain't done. But the real now, I think the statement that I think most people are thinking now is, bro, what's your next move? Because now we're watching. We've been watching. Okay, DJ Moore, respect it. We're cool with it. Bradley Chubb, okay, we understand. He's got a bit of a pedigree to him. He's got some injury history. Okay, what's next? Because that's what we're waiting for. What's next? Because I don't think people are satisfied with what we've done thus far. Not horrible, very good, but not the way that we thought we needed it to be. So now we're waiting with bated breath. Okay, so what's the next move? There's not a whole lot left in free agency. Okay, now are we on to the draft yet? This is first day of free agency, for crying out loud. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what our GM is about. Maybe he's got one more move left under his sleeve. We'll see. But I'll tell you right now, the window's open right now. You got to add as much people into that window as possible to get this damn championship. Don't be bargain beaning, bro. We're done with bargain bean, man. We need big baller bean. So we'll see if he shows up. But right now, he ain't doing too bad.
The more I read about this, the more it seems like, whether it's a sell job or not, the more it seems like they're really trying to paint the picture that it was going to be both Chubb and Crosby should he have passed that physical. I want to know, what would you have done if that wound up becoming the reality? Because from what we're being told by, credible people, unless they're trying to save face for the Ravens, and I don't know, I mean, maybe they are. What would you have done, your reaction, if they get both? Because I feel like we sit here as Bills fans, if that happened, it wouldn't have just been me. I feel like the response from Bills fans would have been an all-time day on Twitter. All time.
If you talking about the Ravens were able to get both trades?
Yeah, like say whatever they're trying to sell us here is actually the reality. Like say that this was really a thing, and if Crosby passes that physical, that today both Crosby and Hendrickson were a Raven.
I like you said earlier, I don't think that would have been possible. I think what ended up happening was when they found out that Trey was still available, because Trey wasn't getting the number he wanted. So I think they were leveraging both players. And the fact that they were able to get that deal done soon, because they were the 2 top pass rushers in this game. So they anticipated, like we did, that Hendrickson's going to go somewhere. So at least we're going to get one of 2. But when Hendrickson was still available and they're now hemming and hawing over Max Crosby, tough decision to say, bro, nice knowing you. That knee is going to be shot 2 years from now. So we'd rather take the guy that a little healthier. Might be a little older, but he's a little healthier. We'll take him, and we're familiar with him. We're going to grab him on the squad. Were they able to get both of them? I don't think that would have ever been possible. I just don't think so. So pipe dream. I think it's all nonsense. But at the end of the day, listen, they got their guy. They seem like this is going to work out. And Max Crosby's got it. And I feel bad for Max Crosby. That's why I feel bad for. Because not only, and I forgot who made this point. I think it was Chase Daniel of all people. You now have your wife talking about schools. Where am I going to live? I got to take these kids out. I got to start packing this stuff. They start doing all these things. Obviously, you're in your offseason, so you have time. But you start racking your brain on this stuff. You mentally leave one place. I'm sure you've left a job before where you quit a job. Imagine quitting a job that, bro, it's been toxic. It's not a good place for me. I'm about to get a fresh new start somewhere else. And then all of a sudden paperwork is not right. And now you got to go back to your old job and see your old employees and some new employees. Bro, your mental is not going to be all there. You're going to be
he put out a 13-minute goodbye video to Las Vegas. I mean, this thing was done. It was over. What
do you do with that? Do you archive that? Do you take it back and say, yo, I'm going to hold on to it for another time? Bro, it's a nasty, nasty business. It can be. And the guy now has to go back and rehab, do the same things, see the same faces, right? Tom Brady and his owner, and his medical staff guy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Guerrero, he's got to go back to that. Fam, like, I know you've been there your whole career, but you already mentally checked out because you're going somewhere else. And now you got to mentally check back in. That takes some mental fortitude. to get it back. But that's you're professional. So get back, get your knee back. Well, boy, are you going to be a pissed off individual. You're going to be a pissed off all-pro type DE. So maybe this might be the best thing that ever happened for the Raiders, man. They're not rescinding any contracts. They're keeping every single guy they brought on, plus they get max. Now they got, instead of having $67 million in the bank, they got 37. More than the Bills. So I think they're just fine. And if they keep him, great. And watch these guys soar. They might be a nasty looking team. You just never know. Maybe things happen for a reason. And maybe if the NFL is if they're really about that life, you need to make Ravens v freaking Raiders somehow, some way. Try to make that in the schedule, because that needs to happen. That'll be blockbuster. Everybody's gonna be able to watch that. Everyone's gonna want to watch that.
You really think they keep him?
I think they might. I think they might keep him, unless somebody comes out and says, "I'll still give you 2 first-round picks." But then Dallas is out, Buffalo's out. Those are the guys that were in it. Unless the Rams come out of nowhere, but they ain't got no picks like that. So who's in? Unless the Chiefs say, "Hey, I want in," but I don't think they got nothing. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think they keep him. I think they honestly do keep him. We'll see.
If they do, it'll be one of the more interesting storylines going into the year. I feel like they don't keep him. I feel like it might not happen soon. I feel like this could be more maybe of a draft timing of a trade, maybe summertime. I feel like they don't end up keeping him, just because I feel like you alluded to it earlier. Like, it was done. It was over. He wanted out. They want to move on. I mean, you got to feel bad for is the Raiders, because they were about to launch into a full reset here, where you're going to get a brand new franchise quarterback, and then you got 2 additional first-round picks, including the 14th overall, which, I mean, that ain't bad. That was what they were getting this year from the Ravens. Then they go out, Linderbaum, restructure their linebacker room. I mean, I feel like they were really putting themselves in a solid spot to start this rebuild with Mendoza. Plus, you gotta remember, they got Brock Bowers, they got Ashton Genty. I would be bummed if I was a Raiders fan. I mean, I don't think Ravens fans should be bummed. They got Hendrickson 12 hours later. If I'm a Raiders fan, I'm bummed, because I feel like we were really, laying down the bricks here for a solid path towards a rebuild. And this definitely throws a wrench into it for sure. You're not going to ever get what they just got from the Ravens that was rescinded.
You're not wrong with that, by the way. Side note, who gets to keep number 2, by the way? The number 2.
I tweeted it out. I want a wing eating contest. I want Chubb, Moore, and Bass. And I want them
come out of that jersey. Or has he done enough in Buffalo to keep that number 2?
Well, that's the thing. You could argue he's the only one who's been there. I feel like it's tough to go up to a guy who's been there and rip the jersey off for a guy who
he's a kicker.
I know, but it's not like, I mean, you didn't just sign Randy Moss. You know what I mean? I feel like if it's a quarterback, I feel like it's different. Or if it's like a top 5 guy. But the other interesting thing here is you got 2 guys fighting over the same number. It's not like you can even argue it for just one guy.
That's why you gotta come out that jersey, yo. Come out that jersey, bro. Bradley Chubb.
I want to go back to the Chubb thing real quick, because I saw a comment that, where was it here? Aaron saying about, you're so negative. We couldn't afford anyone, and Max Crosby is hurt, so I don't see why you can't be a little excited about this move. I hope maybe it came across that way. I want to. No, this is the thing. It's not that I'm not excited. Like, am I more excited than if the Bills were to have done nothing here? Like, absolutely not. I feel like you are getting a guy that, if he does stay healthy, there it is again. If he does stay healthy and he can match the production of the last couple of years, I think for the money, and this is where I gave it credit off the jump. I do think for the money, this was a really solid signing. I never knocked the signing. My whole angle on this is that it's a reminder that the Bills haven't gone and taken the big swing on D. That's all it is. The player itself, more than fine. The contract, I'm all in on that. $14 million a year for a guy that averaged 10 sacks over the last 2 seasons.
Yep.
And if he can stay healthy, I feel like can be a solid contributor under Jim Leonard. No question about it. It's not that I'm not excited about Bradley Chubb, the guy, or what Bradley Chubb can be for Buffalo. It's more so of a reminder to me where I get frustrated. I feel like that every year we go into the offseason and you're watching one more year of Josh Allen's prime come around the corner. And I guess the best way to put this for me, Rico, and I don't know how you feel.
Okay.
The best way to put it for me is I'm just waiting to be able to hang my hat on one last rocket launch by this team going into nearly a decade here with Josh Allen, where you can say, we did everything we could. We did absolutely everything we could. We stretched our limits to the point where maybe it was completely irresponsible. I know you could say they did it with Vaughn and it didn't work out clearly, and they're still paying the price on that.
Yep.
But is that all it's ever going to be? Just the one try there that blew up, and then we're just not going to do it again? I guess my whole point here is that's what we talked about last show. It's like the first round pick. We just kind of want to see Bean traded just to do something different, just to say you made that massive aggressive move to try and take it over the top one last time here as we get into yet another year with Allen.
It might not be too late because we still have, there's draft day trades, right? So he might look at that late first round and say, hey man, I'm going to give that up for such player. Who knows who, right? So it's still in play, but the way Bean moves, he kind of somewhat predictable, somewhat. So the chances of him moving on from that first is probably highly unlikely. And we also know that he likes his draft picks. He likes his draft picks. I mean, you released Taron Johnson just to renege on that release and allow him to go and choose his destination and where he wants to go, just so you can swap 7th round pick with their 6th round pick, which gives you 40 spots higher. He likes his picks. So whether he's trying to do something or not, I mean, shoot, we'll see. We'll see whether he changes his spots. But yeah, I mean, what's the saying? A leopard never changes their spots or whatnot. He doesn't give me the opportunity. He doesn't give me the guy that will kind of get out of his comfort zone. I mean, he's no Harry Roseman.
And the one thing he's not, and I'm glad you mentioned Howie Roseman, because the one other thing to keep in mind here is look at all of the contenders over the last several years and all of the major wow moves they've all made. The Rams just did yet another one, getting Trent McDuffie. Yep. I've lost count of how many the Eagles have done. I mean, I really couldn't even tell you how many they've done. The list is so long. You're watching what the Ravens obviously just did, what the Packers did with Micah Parsons handful of years ago, what the Niners did with Christian McCaffrey. I just do feel like the consistent contenders in this league, almost all of them have at least done one of those major, massive moves to try and move the needle. And I guess the one other thing to add here is that I guess I do get a little bit frustrated at times, Rico, when I watch a team like the Rams or the Eagles and how they navigate, and it just feels like we don't even do that a little bit. I would just like to see it attempted, where you do just kind of throw caution to the wind, because when the Rams started going down this road of F them picks, they were heavily criticized. But look how that's panned out. I'm not saying you got to do it every year. I would just like to see maybe an attempt at this point to shake things up.
No, I'm with you on that. Because at the end of the day, I think we just had our hopes up. I think that's what it comes down to. Bills fans had our hopes up because we knew exactly what we needed. We knew what we lacked. We lacked the pass rush, a significant pass rush, and we knew that our GM had a lot to make up for. I think those are the two things that have been in our crawl space. Is we need to make a move, and our GM has to do something, and it has to be something big. Let's wait and see. And some folks are kind of complaining about that. But here's the flip side. The other side is you have fans saying, what are we bitching? Because they think we're mad. They think we're upset. What are you guys bitching about? He said he was going to get a receiver, got a receiver. We needed a pass rush, he got a pass rush. Like, what else do you guys want from him? He's doing what he can. And you have some fans that are saying that, and they think that we're really upset and we're not happy. Somebody said, Rico's never happy about anything.
I know.
I wasn't happy.
You know what? I feel like with us, I feel like we tread the middle of that line there. I am happy about DJ Moore, and I am happy about Bradley Chubb. It just feels like, once again, you and I are constantly waiting for that one moment of, whoa, was not expecting the Bills to do that type thing, right?
Sometimes you get gun shy, though. Think about it. When shooters shoot, right? But if you've been bricking it a lot, you bricking it. Now you just become an assist guy. You don't want to take the shots. He took a huge shot with Von Miller. It was a master shot, and we didn't see that coming. That was like a half-court shot. And we're like, whoa, Bean took that shot. All right, Bean, we with you. And since that didn't quite work out because he took a risk on an older player, pass rusher at that, he's a little gun shy now. It's funny because he went after a guy that has knee issues, right? But had knee issues, doesn't have any more. So maybe he's a little gun shy to go for the big one. He's just kind of playing it safe. But I mean, there comes a time where you just can't keep playing it safe. You got to go for the gusto, but maybe it just didn't work out. He was in on all of them, but didn't land a damn thing. So who knows? We'll see how
you seem to be holding out. You seem to be holding out hope, though, that there could be that.
I am. I'm not poo-pooing. I don't want to be over the edge on one side, poo-pooing him, but I'm also not going to praise him either. Because old Rico would praise him and say, that's a good move. That's my guy. Big baller Bean. No. We're done with that. I think you and I think we, for a while, we were blindly faithful in Bean. I think that's what it was. Because he did such great things. He brought in Josh Allen, but that wears off. Okay, you got Josh Allen 9 years ago, almost a damn decade ago. What you going to do now? Right? You can't keep holding on to this. I got Josh. All right, we get it. You made a couple trades. Yo, big ups to you, my G. But this is a league where it's what have you done for me lately? Not what you did for me 10 years ago. It's what have you done for me lately? And right now, I think that's why some fans are like you and I are like, okay, where's that big shot? But he might be a little gun shy from taking that big shot. So maybe he'll give us an intermediate shot somewhere that's acceptable, that's a whoa enough, but doesn't make us go, come on, man, are you serious? So Brandon Bean, we're waiting, bro. We're waiting. We'll see. So
it just sucks the one time they did it, by the way, to close it out. It just sucks the one time they did it.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask the whole
chat. The way it went down.
I'm gonna have to ask the whole chat this before we leave. I know it might be tough for you to answer this, but what do you grade Brandon Bean thus far on what he's done with the team this offseason? And I'm talking about who he's let walk, who he's retained on the squad, and who he's brought onto the team. A, B, C, or D?
Say it again. I was too busy reading Caroline yelling at
I know
us.
Caroline's on our A right now. Thank you, Caroline.
What did you say?
If you're grading Brandon Bean on the offseason moves, who he's retained, who he's let go, who he's traded for, everything he's done thus far. A, B, D, or C? A, B, D. You got me all messed up. A, B, C, or D?
C+.
And while you're thinking,
B minus.
Everybody's giving.
I think. Let me just say this. I think it's a passing grade, but I don't think it's anything you're going to put on the fridge. Is that fair to say? I think it's a passing grade, but the mom and dad aren't going to say, "Sonny boy, we're putting that right up on the fridge." Hell of a job. I think it's a passing grade. The other thing too is this free agency period. It wasn't like there were all these names where you're like, "Oh my God, the Bills got to have this guy and that guy and that guy and that guy." What it really boiled down to, you know what it boiled down to?
Yeah.
Our delusion. Once again, trading for Justin Jefferson and then Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. When all those things immediately become a fictional reality, then
what, that's exactly it. We put ourselves in a position that we thought we were like, he's going to get, this could be available, right? That's just, we fell for the nonsense. I create my own nonsense. This is the problem. I do it every single year. Well, maybe they'll do it. Maybe they'll do it. Yep.
I think, I keep seeing B and C. I feel like a C+ to B- is like the perfect grade for this.
All right. I mean, I'm with that. Let's go for super chats and let's call it a night. I got my man Aiden coming in and says, "Hey, Chubb, 3 years for $43 million. Hendrickson 4 for $112. I love the move. Found out the girlfriend that broke up with me the night we lost to Denver was cheating. Golly, doesn't hurt anymore though. Love y'all. Go Bills." Jeez, Aiden.
Jeez.
Yo, listen,
Aiden,
man.
you deserve better. I'm glad you got it out of the way. You got it out of the way.
Listen, let me tell you something, bro. These females these days, you got to watch for them. All right. Guard your heart. Find your peace. Right. If she don't bring you to peace, out of there. If she don't bring you peace and that's that your spirit is stirred, out of there. Aiden, God's going to send you a nice young lady, man. Don't you worry about that. But golly, Aiden, you just dropped that. You went 3 years, 43, and then you went right into it. God, you threw us off, brother. Signified. The Ravens are such a scumbag. Golly, Signified. Ravens are such scumbag pieces of ish. The NFL needs to grow a spine and sanction them. I can't stand this. I don't think the NFL is going to sanction them, but there is an owners meeting next week. I'm sure that's going to be a topic of conversation. I would love to be a freaking fly in that room on that wall and listen to and see the vibes, because the vibes will be high in that room. That'll be interesting.
I feel like you can say goodbye to the legal tampering period. I feel like that might be a casualty here in this whole thing.
You think?
This was a huge.
There's a lot of ramifications were huge with this one.
Yeah.
100%. And it tarnishes the league. It tarnishes, you know what I'm saying, the legal tampering. So if anything were to change, maybe it's that. No more legal tampering.
In theory, by the way, the legal tampering is kind of dumb because none of it's official until the league year starts, which is today at 4:00. So like,
and they start tampering during combine.
I know they're at the combine like a bunch of chatty Cathys. He's like, come on, give me a break.
You know the drill. You know it. Here we go. Oh, you already read that one. Okay. We got Signified Notes comes in and says, hey, Bot, the Ravens knew damn well how bad Max's knee was. All these medicals is well known to teams like they had more than enough info. They got cold feet and saw Trey's market was softer than they thought. I mean, not necessarily, because they paid these suckers pretty much the damn same. The big difference is they got to keep their 2 first-round picks. Those are huge. That's big time moves. They got to retain that, and they got themselves a pass rusher. Now, I think Pat Crosby's a better pass rusher, and he's a better run defender than Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is not a good run defender, but he can get after the quarterback. So, yeah, I think Crosby was a better pick, but they got cold feet at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. What do we got? We got Jam. My man Jam says, yo, if Bot's negative, then WGR is hell. Is WGR that bad?
I feel like I hear this sometimes. From what I hear from them, I feel like they just want the same things we want. Like they just want it to happen.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get. And if that comes, I think that sometimes comes across negative, but I feel like in pursuit of that is just the desire to want to win. I mean, I think that's what it is. And I don't ever see any negativity rooted in just hating on the team, ever. I really never see that. It's all rooted in, God, we just want to do what it takes. And I feel like sometimes things happen where you sit there and you're like, I'm not entirely sure if this is what it takes. I feel like a lot of times people wanting the best for the Bills can be misconstrued with negativity. I think that's what happens sometimes.
I think so too. And we want to win. We just want to win. Just one. That's all we want.
That's the thing. I'm not asking to be the Patriots or the Chiefs. I mean, give me one and I'll go back in my cave. I'll go. If you want to never hear me again, I'll go. I will disappear.
Listen, if we win one, I will take a straight year off of content creation. Just let me bask in telling people, oh, I want Super Bowl champs, baby. This ball cap, I want on the side, Super Bowl champs. That's what I want. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for. All right, I'll stop content creation. Golly, man. Richie comes in and says, yo, we don't have a Josh Allen on D. It's plain and simple. Oh, we know. We've been looking for it. We just can't find it. You can't. Listen, Josh Allen's 1-1, baby. He's 1-1. 1 of 1. My man Jam says, yo, the anxiety is starting to build up. I'm not going to lie. The Bills and Ravens both are going all in, and the Bills have neither the cap or draft capital to compete. But we got the better quarterback. And
I will say I think the Bills are in a better position than the Ravens, though. I just hosted the AFC North roundtable earlier.
Okay.
My main man, Sam, who covers the Ravens, he feels if they're not able to reach a contract agreement with Lamar next year, this time, that it could be done over there. And on top of that,
restructure Lamar.
They already did today, but they could have extended him, and he wasn't in on it.
Oh, they just restructured. They didn't extend.
No, it's just a restructuring.
Well, that boy out. The franchise tag his ass. So I mean, shoot.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be what it be. Golly, I think he's gonna stay. I don't think he dips. But yeah, stranger things have happened. Bills are down 3 scores in the 3 quarters. Not going like, what? Nah, bro. I don't see it like that. We still good. Last but not least, we got our guy Richie comes in and says, hey, I don't buy the big 17 restructure for Bradley Chubb's. Bradley's got a Chubb. If that's the big move, I don't know. Seems like something more has to come. Go Sabres, though. I mean, listen, this is just the first day of free agency. It's the first day. So the dust has absolutely settled. It's been very slow today. So maybe the Bills do have something up their sleeve. We'll see. Are you surprised by the contract?
Trade. Well,
Trade,
whose
maybe.
contract?
Are you surprised by the contract that Bradley Chubb got at $29 million guaranteed?
Well, I think you factor in multiple ACL tears. You factor in a lengthy injury history. I do think though, do you think are you asking if I'm shocked at the value of it?
Yeah, just like how much they gave him. I was like, okay. I mean, I guess it's a pretty decent, up to $52 million. I mean, he's not going to get that, but he's got. I mean, 2 years pretty much with us. 15 million.
Rico, I'm watching these contracts get delved out. Like seeing $14 million for a guy that has double-digit sack upside. This is why back once again. Oh man, I am in trouble. By the way, I got to, bro. Now that I'm already in trouble, I might as well ask this. Because I got yelled at a minute ago. I got yelled at on text a minute ago. So we'll close the show with this. How much does an oil change cost? Can the chat let me know, including yourself? How much do you pay for an oil change?
Just the other day. My guy, I don't know, the funds, the Canadian, American funds. So my oil change on my Jetta cost me $80. All in.
Okay. So that's 80 Canadian.
80 Canadian. So for you guys, that's like $50. Or not, maybe I'm tripping. $60.
Oh yeah, I'm in trouble.
All
right, no, I'm seeing some. All right, so I'm seeing 180, 85. Caroline thought it was $40. I got the full synthetic, and I could have gotten the regular, which was
$58 for you guys. My 80 is your 58.
The regular was 90. And I got the full synthetic it was 110, and I was out of coolant, and he said he'd top it off for $5. So I said, sure. So then after tax, it was 130, and she's telling me that I got scammed.
Yeah, you did. You got ham. You got taken.
You're telling me I got took?
You absolutely got took. I'm going to top up your coolant for $5?
$5. Listen, I'd rather the guy top the coolant off for $5 than me go buy the coolant and do it myself.
Did he even? Did you get a new oil? Did you get an air filter as well?
Never. I refuse to buy the air filter.
Yeah, you got hose. You still got hose, bro. You still got hose. Listen, when you go get your oil change, you do not. Did you go to the dealership itself, the big dealership?
No, I went to Valvoline.
Nah, you got had. And I have synthetic. I take synthetic into my Jetta. Damn. Shame on you. You got had. You need to find another place that does a better job for you. Hell, you can do your own oil change.
Hold on, we got Dave Smith saying it's costing them $110. Costing them $110.
Dave got had too. You both are suckers.
Damn. All right. Well, I'm in double trouble now.
You got took, kid. Hey, Caroline, your man got took. You got to find another place. Listen, shop around, bro. I know that's not you. I know you don't like doing that. You just like one shop.
The last thing I'm shopping around for is an oil change. Okay. That's the last thing I'm shopping around for.
In this economy, you better shop and do what you need to do to save yourself $1. Zoe's gonna be like, Daddy, what you doing, bro? Synthetic? Cool. You want synthetic, but you can't.
See, I'm not a car guy, so I just don't know. I don't know.
Now you know. Look it up.
Yeah, but Rams driving a 2006 Camry that's got 475,000 miles on it and 87,000 Joule pods on the ground. So yeah, he's probably still getting $70 oil changes. I got the Kia, which got, they're telling me it needs the special stuff, and they probably 188. All right.
No,
see, James, my man. James
the Canadian. He just got himself a big. He got himself a big old truck. He's got a pickup truck. So they're doing whatever they need to do. But I mean, that's still a lot though. 188. Come on, James. That's a lot. All right. Listen, Caroline's saying you're on duty.
Maybe I'll go back there tomorrow and have a word.
Yeah, Valvoline, bro. Valvoline is super expensive. First of all, why are you going to Valvoline?
I do it for the experience. You get a hell of an experience over at Valvoline. They treat you right.
That's your problem. You went for the experience over the money. And come on, fam. No,
I got to be 100% honest with you.
You're mad at Bean. You want the experience. You want to go woo instead of responsibility. Save the money. Do what's right. Look what happened. I got took. That's the problem.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's the lesson learned in all of this.
Lesson learned, man. All right, folks.
And how about this? I just saw, and the guy didn't offer this. I just Googled it. There was a $15 off coupon that I could have used. And I didn't Google beforehand. I just saw someone in the comments say to look for a coupon. Didn't do it. And how about the guy doesn't even offer it to me?
And you didn't get out of the car, did you?
Never.
I see. I mean,
It's
nice.
over.
It's cool to stay in your car, but you're going to pay for that service. You're going to pay for it.
All right. We'll end it there. We'll end it on a sour note. Unbelievable. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much for tuning in. Much love as always. Talk to you soon. And go Bills.